What's up residents, Alistair here, and it's so bizarre to say, but we finally have the trailer for Godzilla vs. Kong, and it was epic. We at last got to see snippets of the epic brawl between the King of the Monsters and the God of Skull Island. You've probably all watched the trailer many times, but this video serves as a breakdown of everything we saw, as well as going in depth with some story details you might have missed, because there was a lot jam-packed into those 2 minutes. So let's begin our in-depth breakdown of this amazing trailer. The trailer opens interestingly to the side of a mountain exploding next to a city, with boulders being thrown through the buildings, crashing them to the ground. But what could have caused this explosion? Well, this next shot should tell you exactly that, as we see people running from what seems to be a mechanized giant flying overhead. But what mechanized giant could it be? Well, from what we know, we're almost completely certain that it's the rumored Mecha Godzilla, which I guess is no longer a rumor thanks to this shot. Next up, we see a naval escort for our very own Kong, but it's unknown if he's doing this willingly or if he's being kidnapped and being forced against his will to fight Godzilla. We see him waking up and he remains complacent, even in chains, as if he is putting his faith into the humans. We see Alex Skarsgård, a Monarch agent, reacting to the sight of Kong, and to be fair, I'd be just as shocked seeing a giant ape. He states, "We need Kong." Now I have my own theories about this character, but I feel like he's not being entirely truthful with us. But we'll get to him in another video. Next up, we see a new character called Gia on Skull Island, played by Kaylee Hottle. This character and the actress herself are actually deaf, and as the trailer explains, she's the only one that can communicate with Kong, most likely due to them creating their own form of sign language. So she will be the link to the humans being able to side with Kong, and maybe even convincing him to join them on their venture against Godzilla. She appears to have a real bond with Kong, and I'm looking forward to seeing their relationship explored in the film, to add much more depth to Kong as a character. In the next shot, Kong walks towards her calmly as she offers him a handcrafted doll of himself, which is very cute. And what's interesting is that you can see him holding something. But what could this be? Well, we do see it later in the trailer, so we'll return to this shot in just a few minutes. In the next shot, we see her conversing with Eileen Andrews, played by Rebecca Hall, most likely telling her what Kong has been saying or how he feels about being recruited for the war against Godzilla. And in the next few shots, we see more evidence of Kong and Gia's connection, with Eileen stating they have a bond. It's clear Eileen knows Gia well due to the various scattered photographs of her visit, so they probably trust each other incredibly well. Makes me wonder how Kong essentially going to war will affect Gia, but she could potentially be the most interesting character in the whole Monsterverse. Eileen goes on to say she promised to protect Gia, and even observes a beautiful moment between the two where she announces that she believes that Kong has also made a promise to protect her. But just as we're getting used to this tender moment, a certain titan approaches. Gia feels the walls and senses the vibrations of Godzilla nearby under the water. The atmosphere in the next few shots are brilliant, as it truly mirrors the Spielberg movie Jaws, with his dorsal plates crashing through the ocean surface like a large-scale version of the shark's fin. And what's interesting is that Jaws was actually the inspiration to how Gareth Edwards would portray Godzilla in the 2014 film, with a less is more approach, so it's like we've come full circle. What follows are an array of terrifying scenes involving Godzilla slowly approaching the vessel holding Kong, with Godzilla splitting battleships in two as if they were paper. Fighter jets open fire on the nearing Godzilla in an attempt to get him to slow down, but to no avail. This is going to be such a great moment, and if it's done right, would return to the tense atmosphere of the 2014 film, which was easily that film's strong suit. Godzilla's tail flings into the air and blows up the jet, which to him are a mere nuisance. The crew of the vessel, consisting of Alex Skarsgård, Kaylee Hottle, and Eiza Gonzalez, watch in horror as they see Godzilla approach their vessel. And even Kong can't help but worry. As we know, water isn't an ape's strong suit, but we do know that this iteration of Kong can swim, but probably nowhere near as good as Godzilla, so it's best he avoid falling into the ocean. You can tell that thought crossed his mind because he looks scared, but staying on board is easier said than done, considering Godzilla bursts out of the ocean in an attempt to flip the vessel. Next up, we see the badass scene of Godzilla climbing aboard, but I just love the way he struggles to climb up, like a whale deliberately trying to beach itself. One thing I've noticed is that the animation this time around is so much better than that of King of the Monsters, where a lot of the time it felt stiff. Clearly the extra production time has helped all areas of the film, and look at it, it's in the daytime. Your wishes have finally been answered. What's interesting to note here is that Kong actually has switched vessels. This ship is much larger than anything we see in the previous scene, and Kong no longer has chains on him. Could the humans have set him free in order to protect himself? The chances are that this takes place a fair amount of time later, since Kong is still sleeping in that first wide shot. I unfortunately can't give any answers to what this is and where it came from, but all I can say is, what a strong ship to be able to support both titans. Clearly Kong doesn't want Godzilla on the ship as he uses all his force to shove him back into the water, which may have unintentionally gave him an advantage, as Godzilla finds a vantage point to fire his atomic breath into the air and split the ship in half. I just love that even the underwater shots are clear and easily visible. This is the way I saw those old underwater battles from the Showa films, but now it's been realized with a $200 million budget, which is something I'd never have expected to happen. I'm so happy that these films exist. If we look closely, the humans fire some kind of weapon to deter Godzilla whilst he's underwater. Could these be a depth charge type device or something else? Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Kong's jump here is also just hilarious. In the next scene, we see a new character, Walter Simmons, claiming these are difficult times, which is a statement that's very, very true. But in context of the film, he's most likely referring to the sudden rise in Titan attacks, which has likely had a domino effect on everything from traveling, money, and general way of life. But the next shot is much more interesting. This here is Ren Serizawa. Yes, the son of Ashiro Serizawa from 2014 and King of the Monsters. And in the background we see a screen displaying scientific imagery that seems to be running diagnostics for Mechagodzilla, or potentially another mechanized giant. If you're wondering why Serizawa never mentioned him, it could potentially be that he was estranged. His motives in the film seem unclear, but it's apparent that he's against Godzilla, especially if he has ties to Mechagodzilla, which completely goes against everything his father said about Godzilla being the key to coexistence. I can't wait to see how he develops, with us potentially learning more about one of the best characters in the series. This next shot is just wow. I mean, look at it. This is easily one of the most beautiful shots in the series, and even though it's in nighttime, they have found a way to illuminate the environment in a similar fashion to Pacific Rim, with the futuristic Hong Kong buildings lighting up the monsters. If you want to use this as a wallpaper, now's your chance. Next up, we see Kyle Chandler's character, Mark Russell, for the first time in this trailer, mentioning that Godzilla is hurting people, but no one can figure out why. And we get some amazing shots of Godzilla straight up decimating a facility. With a look of his whiteboard, we can actually see Godzilla isn't being unpredictable. He's going after apex bases. So it's clear Godzilla knows something even Monarch doesn't. But to an observer, he's just mercilessly taking lives, giving the impression he's evil. Though I promise you, residents, they haven't ruined his character. Godzilla's smart and anything he does is for the good of the planet's ecosystem, even if some humans don't know it yet. Even Madison knows something's up, with her announcing that something's provoking Godzilla that we're not seeing here. Madison is clearly on Godzilla's side, since she had that connection when he saved her life, seemingly by sheer luck, but he's still her savior. She's traveling with Julian Dennison's character, called Josh Valentine, as they seek to uncover the truths behind the Godzilla attacks. They even meet up with Brian Tyree Henry's character, called Bernie Hayes, who actually agrees that something is not right. So they're not on their own believing that Godzilla wouldn't do something like this unprovoked. Right, prepare yourselves because shit's about to hit the fan. We see Kong jumping from mountain to mountain, but what I first thought was Skull Island is actually the Hollow Earth. He's clearly been led here to uncover the truth about his ancestry, with the trailer actually revealing that Kong and Godzilla's species were actually at war, and that both of them are the last of their kind, which ups the stake of their fight a bit. Ignore Kong's beautiful eyes here for a moment, because what the hell is that? At first I thought it was an alien spaceship because it looks almost like a Covenant Phantom from Halo. But after looking back at some of these figures, I'm certain that this is a Heave, a human vehicle designed for exploring the Hollow Earth. And right now they're escorting Kong to a very special item that will help him on his quest against Godzilla, his battle axe. Originally seen in these figures a while back, we finally get to see it in its final form, and it's even more beautiful than we expected. What an awesome shot. Now you know about this axe, I can return to this shot, because what's odd is that he's actually holding his battle axe, something you wouldn't presume would happen until later into the film, unless this shot takes place at the end of the film, presuming Kong survives and returns to Skull Island, with these two characters visiting to check on him back in his homeland. I really hope it's not that, because it would be pretty bad to have a shot from the end of the film. That ruins all the tension about who we think will survive, and would ruin the film about as much as the reveal of Godzilla's nuclear pulse was back in the King of the Monsters trailers. Next up, we get to see the Warbats for the first time attacking Kong, likely while he's on his adventure before receiving his axe, because he swings them around like a baseball bat into each other instead of just using his axe. And if the color of their blood has anything to say about it, they do indeed have acid in their wings, like the figures suggested, so it wasn't just a weird typo. Next up, we get a shot of a destroyed city, potentially being Hong Kong in the morning following their battle, and the land has been completely decimated. The camera pedestals up from the axe to show Godzilla roaring, and once again it feels good to see these monsters for all their beauty in the daytime, and Kong looks pissed. And next up we see Psycho Vultures, a subspecies of Camazots, the antagonist of the upcoming Kong graphic novel Kingdom Kong, and they swoop down to attack Kong. But what's more interesting is what's on the floor. The ground appears to be glowing blue in the form of Godzilla. This could be where Kong gets his weapon, with the blue energy being powered by ancient, now dead ancestors to Godzilla's species. Next up we see a great nighttime shot with both monsters in full view, looking up giving them a real sense of the scale, and Kong slams on Godzilla, which looks like it hurts. Next up we see Millie, seemingly shocked by something, but what's that behind her? Looks like some heavy machinery in a similar sci-fi setting to Ren Serizawa's shot. Maybe she found where they were hiding Mechagodzilla. And we'll finish this breakdown on one of the most epic shots in the entire trailer, Kong leaping to smack Godzilla in the face with his newly found Godzilla killer, his battle axe. The colors are, once again, simply beautiful. Now this axe is incredibly powerful, not only because it's a deadly weapon, but it also absorbs Godzilla's atomic breath, as we see it change direction without Godzilla moving his head as he brings it closer. The reason this is because it's made out of Godzilla's dorsal plate, or at least one of his ancestors' dorsal plates. It does seem like Godzilla's actually missing some of his spines, so chances are he crafted this axe following a battle against Godzilla. The radiation from Godzilla's atomic breath even charges up the weapon, as his dorsal plates would normally do, before the axe exerts the force, leading to them most likely both going flying. The trailer cuts to the title card, Godzilla vs. Kong, which is silver this time around, most likely secretly hinting at Mechagodzilla for us hardcore fans. Right, that's it for the analysis and breakdown of the trailer, and what a trailer that was. I almost don't want anything else to be revealed, but what's funny is that the director, Adam Wingard, states that this trailer barely scratches the surface of what the film has to offer. So I really hope this film is like 3 hours long, because that would be epic. But what do you think about the trailer? Are you more or less hyped for the film? Let us know in the comment section down below. If you're new to the channel, we cover everything Godzilla and Jurassic related, so why don't you subscribe and stomp that notification button to become a resident of Dangerville today. I've been Alistair, and we'll see you residents in the next one.